Good evening, folks, and welcome to the Ross Rundown. I am your host, Matt Errolson, of course, alongside with me for the ride, Jeremy McKenzie and Bran Fall. Now, you guys have a good week now the championship is over with?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes.
So, with that being said, as I just mentioned, we have a brand new champion, and that is the Virginia Cavaliers, who defeated Texas Tech 85-77 in overtime, and of course went from almost worst to first, losing to a 16 seed last year to winning a national championship this year. So, of course, congratulations to the Cavaliers. We'll jump into that here in just a moment, but in the meantime, let's talk about how we got to that point. So let's begin with the first game on Saturday, and that was Virginia playing Auburn. Now, Virginia ended up winning 63-62, and I've said it once, I'll say it 1,000 times. If the score is in the 60s, Virginia's going to win, correct?
Yes.
And that was a great basketball. I mean, you don't think great basketball games when you think that score, but it was truly a riveting basketball game the last 10 minutes of that ball game.
And it just goes to show you, we sat here and watched how Auburn literally just outran Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And so to see Virginia be able to neutralize them and allow that same team only 62 points goes to show you how really good the Cavaliers are.
Their defense is just, that's what they do. They shut you down.
Yeah.
They make you play their tempo, and they make you beat them at it.
Absolutely. Let's talk about this double dribble that wasn't. So what happened with this, guys?
You know, on the replay, it's obvious that was probably a double dribble. However, that's a tough play to probably catch in the heat of the moment when you're looking at so much other stuff. He in fast motion, it almost looked like the ball got tipped. And, it's not reviewable, I don't think.
Okay.
So, I see how they missed it. I mean, even Bruce Pearl came out and said, man, we just need to get over it. Yeah, the human element is what it is.
That's what I was going to say. I remember his quote was something along the lines of, just get over it.
Yeah, that's right.
And I guess that's the way you have to think about it. But, for some reason, this reminded me of the Saints-Rams game and how that ended with that flag that should have been thrown.
Yeah.
Is this kind of a trend? I mean, I understand that referees, umpires are human, but, when you've got a potential chance at playing in a championship, I mean, it's got to hurt a little bit, right?
It does. Without a doubt, it just shows what a class act Bruce Pearl is, because a lot of coaches would probably still not have let this go.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
We don't know that it would have changed the outcome of the game, but it is unfortunate. You're right.
So finally, to finish this little recap, there were 3 clutch free throws from Kyle Guy from Virginia with like 0.6 seconds left, which is basically his MO, right? We've seen that from him all year long, and that sealed the deal for Virginia. So, second game on Saturday, that would be the Texas Tech Red Raiders defeating Sparty 61-51.
Yeah.
Did this surprise you guys at all?
Well, it did for me, because I was expecting for Michigan State to come out and just take over Texas Tech, but it seemed to me it's like Texas Tech had other plans for Michigan State. I mean, the defense, the pack line defense. I mean, a lot of people don't understand what a pack line defense is. A pack line defense, basically, you playing man-to-man pressure defense. And I think what it was, Michigan State underestimated that defense, and they just couldn't capitalize on that, where Texas Tech just pretty much took advantage of it and ran away with the win.
Yeah, and, people don't. We talk about Virginia's defense all year long. People don't realize Texas Tech had a very good defense as well. Yeah. And that D held Sparty to 31.9% shooting. They missed 17 three-pointers.
Yeah, they just had them out of sorts all night. It was truly amazing to watch.
Yeah. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know many of the guys on either one of these teams, but just looking at it, talent alone, I think most people would have thought Michigan State was going to win this ball game.
I had pulled for Michigan State for this.
I think most people did once it got to that point, but Texas Tech, like I said, their defense is just incredible. They're long and athletic, and they bother shots.
Yes, they do.
They bother every shot.
And as we know, Virginia and Texas Tech playing each other, when it comes to March Madness, you got to be able to play great defense. You got to be able to make free throws, and you got to be able to not turn the ball over. And both teams did that very well throughout the tournament.
Yes, they did.
And that landed both of them in the national championship. And as I mentioned at the top of the show, Virginia was able to pull it out 85-77 in overtime on Monday night. And as I mentioned, this was redemption, right?
Yeah, without a doubt. It's a great story. I mean, if you hate Virginia, you have to like this story. And I don't know anybody really hates Virginia, but just Tony Bennett, just to see them go from what they went through last year and come back and win this, and their big three were just incredible in this game.
And I know you talked about it last week, but recap again what Tony Bennett said after his team lost. You know,
Yeah, there was a lot of talk about the humiliation
Right.
of losing to UMBC the year before, and he told them in the tournament, sometime in the tournament or going into the tournament, he told them it's part of your legacy. Don't run from it. Own it.
Yeah.
And go out and own your legacy this year and make it a part of it. And they just, every player on that team bought into it. I mean, when a guy hit the 3 free throws at the end of the Auburn game, they asked him after the game, and he said, were you scared? He said, I'd love to tell you knew I was going to make them, but I was terrified.
Oh, I'm sure.
And they stood up there, and they just, in the face of adversity, 14 for 14 free throws in the overtime. DeAndre Hunter, the second half of the national championship game, the 3 he hit to tie it with about 16 seconds ago, and the 3 he hit to put them in the lead or pull them within 1 in the overtime were maybe the 2 biggest shots in college basketball all year.
Now, I do want to give myself a pat on the back. My column last week was about DeAndre Hunter.
Love.
And I wrote it about, I said, you may be asking yourself, who's the best player in the Final Four? It's DeAndre Hunter.
Oh, hey.
Very versatile, 6'7",
my gosh.
250, somewhere in there. He can guard guards all the way up to a center.
And he bothered Culver all night for Texas Tech.
He sure did.
bother
Who's their
him.
best player.
Yeah.
But Hunter was 1 for 8 in the first half, but then scored 22 of his career high, 27 in the second half and OT, and hit that 3, like you mentioned, with 14 seconds to go to send them to overtime. Before we finish talking about this, Jeremy, let me ask you this. People were really nervous in Virginia's first game of the tournament when they were actually losing to Gardner-Webb for a moment. Did you think at one point, oh my God, they're going to lose to a 16 again, or did you figure they pull it out eventually?
I think if you play Gardner-Webb, if you lose to Gardner-Webb, so you need to be fired. But I think what it was Virginia was optimistic about it because of what they went through last year. But but other than that, I think what it was, Virginia had a vengeance. They came back with a vengeance. I mean, they pretty much dominated Gardner-Webb, and the rest was history.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Vengeance is a good word for it. They were mad, and they wanted to show the people they could do it. And as you mentioned, once again, Kyle Guy, clutch free throws.
Just a truly amazing basketball player.
Yeah, and I want to correct myself. I said last week that he was not eligible for the draft. He is. He's a senior.
Oh, wow.
So he's going to be graduating. Hunter probably going to be leaving as well.
Yeah.
Ty Jerome, I'm not sure. He's kind of up in the air.
Yeah.
So, we talked last week about, or maybe the week before, about the ACC. What's it going to look like next year? Virginia may be replacing some guys as well.
Yeah, I mean, DeAndre Hunter, if he doesn't go, I'll be stunned because he's ready.
He's at least a lottery pick.
Yeah, he's ready. He's ready now.
Yeah, at least a top 5 pick.
Yeah. All right, guys. So Virginia champions. So of course, once again, congratulations to them. Yes,
ACC.
right, ACC. Now I have the master copy here. I threw away everybody else's copies because we were all terrible. It's nothing to brag about. Hopefully, we'll all do better next year.
I can't do any worse, I promise.
No, I couldn't either. So, that's it for March Madness. Of course, before you know it, it'll be right back
That's
here
right.
again.
Oh, yeah.
Best time of the year.
Absolutely. All right, so golf is in the air. It's been a while since we've talked golf, and the Masters will be taking place this weekend, of course, down in Augusta, Georgia. Now, the field this year is going to include 87 players with 20 past champions this year.
Wow.
First tee times were early Thursday morning, of course, down in Augusta. Just a couple of guys here, some of the odds for them. Tiger is a 14-1 odd. Phil Mickelson all the way down 40-1 odd. And then the favorite is Rory McIlroy, who is a 7-1 favorite.
Okay.
So, want to get your guys' opinion. Brandon, let's start with you. Who do you predict will win in Augusta?
I'm going with Jordan Spieth.
That's a good pick.
I think he's a great player. His game is suited to Augusta. And I really look for him to have a big week. Of course, with golf, it's so every year you got somebody. I really do look for somebody after day 2 that we have no idea who it is right now. That we're going to be saying, oh my gosh, I can't believe this guy's in. It seems to happen every year in Augusta.
Year.
And I look for
one of the championships.
Yeah, and I would love to see it be an older player. Say a Jim Furyk or somebody.
That'd be great.
I mean, I would love to see that happen, but I think Jordan Spieth's probably my favorite.
That's
to
a
win it
good pick. Jeremy, what about you? Who do you think's going to win?
I would put my money on Tiger Woods.
Yeah, I mean, you can't ever go wrong with Tiger. 14-1 odds again.
all. That'd be awesome to see.
I don't know, though, man. I wonder if we've seen the best days of Tiger already. I wonder if his best days are behind him.
I don't think you see. I think you had not seen. I think his best days maybe a little bit behind him, but I think you see a little resurgence in him. As far as his game, his style of play has been been upgraded in the past few years, but I think as time progresses, as he going through his, doing whatever, I think he'll be doing fine.
For Tiger, it's going to come down to can he stay healthy. I think it's as simple as that because he's no spring chicken anymore.
That's right.
He's, he's had all those problems with his back and that back injury, so we'll have to wait and see whether he can do that. I'm taking a familiar name down in Augusta. I'm predicting Bubba Watson.
Bubba's won the Masters, hasn't he?
He's won twice.
Yeah.
Augusta is basically a playground for Bubba Watson, and he could become just the 10th golfer with 3 or more jackets. Wow. He's currently a 25-1 odd to win it, so kind of right there in the middle, but very familiar with the course, very familiar with Amen Corner, which is one of those sticky points.
I followed him on a practice round down there a few years ago, and it was amazing to watch him strike the ball down there. It was beautiful.
Yeah. You know what? Augusta will humble you real quick if you're not careful.
Yep.
And, we've seen with some of these other courses where they just keep moving it back and moving it back. Augusta, not so much. The course itself is difficult, kind of like Pinehurst, number 2, where, they kept moving it back. And finally they said, you know what, let's just make the actual course harder. Let's put obstacles in the way.
Yeah.
And I think that makes it tougher for the players. So, all right, Masters coming up this weekend. Of course, we will let you know who wins that, and one of us could potentially be correct. So
good atmosphere too.
Yeah.
It's a great
nothing
place.
better.
A great place.
Nothing better than the Walk 18 down in Augusta. All right, let's finish up rounding the bases. We are now a couple of weeks into baseball, but that doesn't mean that we can't finish up here because still a very, very small sample size when it comes to Major League Baseball with 162 games. We're going to finish up with the AL East, which, as we talked about already, is expected to be a dogfight just like the NL East should be. Let's start with probably the worst team out of the bunch, and that is going to be the Baltimore Orioles. I guess the question is, how bad is it going to get before it gets better for the O's?
I'm afraid they gave some fans some false hope. They took the opening series a couple weeks ago against the Yankees. But you're already starting to see it. They're already coming back to the pack and falling back. And I just truly believe they're a 75-win team at best.
Oh, I don't even know if they get to that.
I just don't think. I don't think they're that good.
Yeah, I would even go as far to say they'll have the worst record in the majors this year.
That's not a far stretch.
No, I fully expect them to lose at least 100 games.
Wow.
I don't expect them to break any records, but I could see them going 62 and 100 just to make it an even number there. I mean, I think right now the over/under for them is like 59 point something wins. So people are expecting them to bottom out.
And I love being wrong about stuff. I love these teams. That's what makes baseball great. But I don't see it. Yeah. I agree with you.
One thing I was hoping to see during the offseason, because everybody knew that Baltimore's rebuilding and it was going to be a bad year for them, was to hire Scott Emerson. I know I've mentioned this before. They had an opening after they let Buck Showalter go.
Yep.
Scott has experience now being the A's pitching coach. They obviously need to build around pitching in the AL East. They got a bunch of young guys. Scott's a young guy. I mean, to me, it was a match made.
I agree. I mean, and he works wonders with young staffs.
Yeah. I mean, even right now, I shared a story on the RO Sports Show's Facebook page about how well the A's pitching staff is doing once again with a bunch of, face it, no-name guys off the scrap heap.
That's right.
And that's Scott working his magic. So, all right, let's move forward to the Toronto Blue Jays north of the border. So Toronto has built up quite a farm system now. They've got 5 top 100 prospects, but is winning still a few years off for Toronto.
Couple at least. For sure, I think. I don't think they're ready.
Well, go ahead.
I give them 2 or 3 years. They still rebuilding. Probably down the road, they'll probably get some good prospects through the draft, and they'll probably start winning down the road.
They've got Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who is, quite frankly, after Acuna, probably the best. Of course, Acuna's not a prospect anymore, but the best prospect in Major League Baseball. They also have another familiar name. Dante Bichette's son is also in their system.
Oh, wow. I don't think I knew that.
Yeah.
Dante Bichette was a heck of a player.
And as I mentioned, 5 guys in the top 100. It remains to be seen whether those guys will develop into superstars because you never really know, although it seems like Guerrero is one of those can't-miss guys. But we also have to wait and see whether they'll use some of that to go out and trade for some guys. Of course, Toronto, they seem to have some money when they need it. I wouldn't necessarily call them a big market team, but they're never really scrounging for pennies either. So, but I can see Toronto winning again before Baltimore for sure.
Yeah,
So-
oh yeah.
All right, third team here that had a great year last year, won 90 games, and yet still missed the playoffs, and that would be the Tampa Bay Rays. So it seems like year in and year out, they always have a great pitching staff. These young guys come up, they never skip a beat, but can they score runs? And to piggyback off of that, can they do enough to pass New York and Boston?
I don't know. I don't know. A couple weeks in, they're right there at the top of the division. But most managers will tell you really don't know what you got until about a month into the season,
Sure.
50 games in. You really don't know what kind of team you are and you are not. But their young staff, they don't have every one of their starters a couple weeks into the season has got an ERA under 3.
Yeah.
And you look at their starting lineup. They don't have but one player. Austin Meadows, their center fielder, is having a great start to the year. He's hitting over 300, but they don't have another single guy in their lineup hitting over 300. But they got a ton of guys hitting 280.
Hey, you know what? That's just as good if you got a plethora of that.
If they can maintain that and get some balance and score they don't need to score 7 runs a game to win. Here's
what they're going to do. The same thing they've been doing. They're going to have great pitching. They're going to steal a lot of bases with speed, and they're going to play Gold Glove defense.
Yep. And if they can do that and get just enough runs, who knows?
Yeah. You know what? It kind of reminds me of the Raiders and the way they play baseball.
That's
Ricky
right.
Young kind of matches up very well with what Tampa Bay's trying to do.
Yep.
But
Ricky
yeah.
Young's a strong proponent of pitching and defense.
But again, though, I guess to follow up, they won 90 games last year, but, New York and Boston are still there. And I know Boston's kind of starting slow. We're going to talk about that here in a minute. But nobody expects Boston to finish last.
No, I think this is an aberration.
Yeah. I just wonder if the Rays will have enough down the stretch, unless they go out and make a move. But they also have to deal with, like a lot of these small market teams, not being able to sign guys once they establish themselves.
Yeah, these guys, this pitching staff. I mean, you look at them.
Blake
and you're
Snell's a
that's
superstar.
Right. You look at and other than him, Charlie Martin. I mean, who else do you know on their staff?
Well, there's Honeywell, Blake Honeywell,
but who's having? I think his ERA is under 1 so far this year. So they're good. But are they going to be able to maintain them when everybody in America knows their name?
Exactly. And, of course, as we've seen, they trade off guy Chris Archer, just the most recent one, and the list, Jeremy Helix, and the list goes on and on and on and on. All right, so let's talk about those top 2 teams. Let's start with the New York Yankees, your team here. Luis Severino, who is their ace, he's out till May. Kind of the opposite of the Rays. Can the Yankees pitching hold up this season? Because they're going to score runs.
Mm-hmm.
I believe I'm a Yankees fan. I can speak for the Yankees.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just truly believe, like the Yankees, for their pitching staff, I think that we're going to do great. Pretty much might be a little slow in the process, but I think as time we'll get better as time goes. But if we can get rid of the sloppy play all the time, and we have a lot of miscues and running bases and stuff like that, if we can get rid of those little trash little parts out of it, I think the Yankees will compete.
All right. What do you think, Bran?
I'm just, I'm not sure they can pitch well enough yet. We'll see. The verdict's still out. But I really, truly believe they could go through the year and average 7 or 8 runs a game.
Yeah. I mean, and they have to.
And if they do that, if they can pitch just enough.
Yeah.
And I still think they're the favorite to win the division, in my opinion.
Now, I'll be honest with you. Severino is their ace. I know he had a good year last year. I'm still not sold on him yet.
Yep.
It's got nothing to do with injuries. I don't know. There's just something about him.
Well,
I just don't know.
You want to see a guy do it for more than a year before you declare him the ace.
Tanaka's getting up there. CC's
Sabathia's
about to retire.
Yeah.
So, but again, like you mentioned, they may average 7 or 8 runs. I mean, I know Stanton's injured right now, but I mean, between him and Judge and Gary Sanchez, they're going to hit 1,000 home runs this year.
McCutcheon's had a good start to the year.
Yeah. No, McCutcheon's is in Philly now.
That's right. I'm sorry.
He was in New York.
That's right.
Though.
He's in Philly.
I remember he was in New York.
That's right. That's why his bad taste in my mouth watching him against the Braves this weekend.
But I don't know. I think it's going to be a dogfight between the Yankees and the Red Sox, just like it was last year. Perhaps the team that loses out will end up being the wild card. We'll have to wait and see on that. But let's finish up rounding the bases with the defending World Series champions, and that would, of course, be the Boston Red Sox, who, as I just mentioned, are starting out very, very slow. pitching seems to be their problem along with defense. Is this a World Series hangover, or are they going to get it together?
I think they're fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I think the Yankees might beat them in the division, but I think they're a strong second.
Still a very small sample size.
That's right. Still way early to get worried. I think they just activated somebody off the DL. The injured list.
I say DL. That's what I thought.
That's what it is.
I thought DL.
So I mean, I think they'll come around. I really do.
All right, what do you think?
I think they'll be fine. I mean, they'll come around. And as far as if most of the time when you have these little win championship, you're gonna have that a little tipsy type thing. But as you get sober, I think they'll come around.
I like that. I'm wondering if you got Chris Sale. David Price is their number 5 starter, and they're paying him $30 million this year.
Wow.
30.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot for your number 5 starter. I agree completely with you guys. I mean, until I've seen otherwise, Boston's going to be there.
Yeah. I think in September we're going to be talking about Boston, New York.
They just have way too much talent to not be there.
And just an unlimited checkbook.
Let me ask I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys one more question before we move on. We've seen some guys sign some astronomical deals: Machado, Harper, Trout.
Yeah.
Mookie Betts is a free agent after this upcoming
wow.
season. What do you think his ceiling is money-wise? Think he breaks the bank?
I say $400 million.
That's the number that's being thrown out.
Wow.
I say 12 years.
I
say 12 years, $400 million.
Yeah, he could do it. Good Lord.
I mean, he seems to be good at everything he does.
That's right.
He's also he averages like 270 in bowling too. I mean, the guy's a pro in bowling as well. He can do it all.
Oh wow.
Although I would say, if Boston doesn't want him, we could find a spot for him down in hot
I tell
Atlanta.
you who you wouldn't.
The Yankees will take
I wouldn't
him.
be shocked to see either one of those teams. If you get late in the year and Kimbrel's still sitting at home,
Yep.
I mean, that's the kind of move those two teams can afford to make.
And those are the two names, Keuchel and Kimbrel, still sitting out there.
Yeah.
The 2 Ks.
Yeah.
They throw a lot of Ks.
That's right.
I mean, eventually somebody's going to sign
You think
them,
one
right?
of those two teams are going to push a button at some point if they feel like they needed to get over the hump?
You would think, but I would have thought way before now.
Yeah, I would
they'd
have
be
too.
signing.
I'm just shocked that we're here halfway through April and those two guys are
I think Kimber gonna get picked up probably around May or sometime first part of June.
Well, one of the things that people are holding out for is the draft, because apparently if you wait till after the draft, there's no more compensation.
What's that?
pick
What is that?
attached.
June?
It's in June, middle of June.
Yeah.
But again, is Scott Boras any of their agents? Do you know?
I don't know.
I don't either.
Yeah.
I would imagine if he is, that may be playing into it as well, because he likes to play chicken with his clients. So, all right, that is it for Rounding the Bases. Of course, we will, just like everything else, continue to keep you up to date on what's happening in Major League Baseball in a very long season, but
Absolutely.
very great sport. So, of
Yes,
course,
love it.
we'll be keeping up with that from now until October. All right, so baseball is starting up. NBA is finishing up. So we're going to talk about the playoffs and the matchups next week, because we wanted to make sure we got all the matchups right and did that correctly. But since we're doing that next week, that doesn't mean we can't talk about the season wrapping up.
Yeah.
So, as we know now, even though the matchups aren't completely set, we do know that the Lakers are not going to be there, which means there's no LeBron. Jeremy, let's start with you. How much is it going to hurt the NBA to not have LeBron in the playoffs?
I think it's going to hurt because due to the level of competition. Because I think by him being in the playoffs, it makes a lot of the teams a lot better and want to be more competitive, play against one of the best players in the NBA. But by him not going to be there, I think that's going to take a step back. Because really right now, championship's up for grabs for anybody who can go out and get it.
Brand, I'm going to ask you the same thing, but change it a little bit. How much is it going to hurt the NBA's wallet to not have LeBron
without
there?
a doubt, the ratings are going to be down. With LeBron, in my opinion, is still the most marketable player in the league.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt.
And without a doubt, that's going to hurt their ratings, hurt their commercial sales. I mean, I truly believe this is going to hurt them.
Yeah,
and the NBA is fine, but
Yeah, I mean, they're fine. They can still print money.
Right.
But, I mean, when you've got the best player in the league, the
Sitting
best
home.
player, arguably of all time, sitting at home, I mean, that hurts no matter
I don't
what
care
it is.
what they say. When he signed with LA this year, people expected LA to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
whether it
yeah.
was realistic or not.
And I will say this, until he got hurt, I think they were sitting in third or fourth
They were
place.
fourth place
Yeah,
in the
they
West
were
when he went
third
down with
place
his
in the
injuries.
West.
So they had a legit shot.
Yeah.
Now, could they have sustained it? Don't know. But LeBron getting hurt, that completely tanked
LeBron getting
their
hurt,
season.
then all the drama with the trade rumors
Yep.
around Anthony Davis,
Yep.
kind of hurt their cohesion a little bit. But it's going to hurt.
Yeah. Speaking of trade rumors and stuff with the Lakers, we're going to talk about Magic Johnson here in just a second.
All right.
But one more question about LeBron. So, as we know, he's out. So, who's the best player left in the playoffs?
You go first.
Me?
Yeah.
All right. I am going to go with the Greek Freak.
That's who I was going to go with.
I was gonna go with him too.
I mean, okay, I'll pick somebody different then. I'm going to go Russell Westbrook.
Okay. Yeah.
So my son told me last night that on some list he showed up as one of the most overrated players in the NBA, and I think that's. I thought that was insane. I mean, I don't think the Thunder as a team are going to go deep because other than Westbrook and George, I think they're hurting.
Yeah.
But I think Russ Westbrook, I'm not going to lie, I used to be one of those guys a few years ago that called him overrated.
Yeah.
When he was with KD and then KD left and the drama. But, man, this guy just will do whatever it takes to try to win a game.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Matter of fact, I think as we currently sit, Houston would play OKC, and if my feet were to the fire, I may pick the Thunder to upset Houston.
And I hope they do.
Yeah.
I really hope they do.
I could definitely see that happening. All right, who do you think's the best player? You gonna stick with Giannis?
I had that since y'all said it, but I'm going to go with James Harden.
All right. Well, then I'll stick with Giannis Antetokounmpo because I think this
Not
guy
a bad pick.
is the future of the sport. He is. I mean, there's not really a player that's like him out there.
He just does everything.
He does everything. Can guard everybody. Can shoot free throws. Can shoot threes. Can pull up and shoot the jumper. Can take it to the hole. Can rebound. Yeah.
And he can look like he's not close enough to the goal to finish a move, and the next thing you know, he's dunking.
Yeah.
It's just uncanny the way he gets to the.
He's got
goal.
that quick first step, and then it only takes him just a quick stride, and like you said, he's there. And I mean, there's several guys out there that could be the best player. Somebody might say Damian Lillard from Portland.
Not a bad player.
Not a bad player.
I don't even know. Chris Paul, perhaps. I don't know. There's a bunch of them out there. Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah.
Kyrie Irving.
Who Kawhi Leonard quietly's got Toronto. Maybe not quietly, got Toronto at number 2 seed in the East.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about Magic Johnson. I think this surprised a lot of people. I know it surprised me.
Yeah, it was very shocking.
Stepping down as Lakers president. So I guess the simple question is, why? Has anybody been able to answer this yet?
He said he just wanted to be Magic again. I don't know if there's more to it. Now, granted, I'm biased when it comes to he's my all-time favorite basketball player.
Here's his quote. He said, quote, "I want to go back to having fun. I was happier when I wasn't the president." So, what do you make of that?
Maybe he's just sick of being scrutinized to death. Although I have a hard time believing his skin's not thick enough to handle that. Maybe just the stress of the job got to him.
I guess. I don't know, though.
I don't. I mean, it's just so baffling. I heard Shaquille O'Neal say a few nights ago when he announced it, that he was shocked. He was even shocked. And he had never known Magic to back off of anything he did. Yeah. And so that's just, I don't know. I don't want to sound weird, but you almost wonder if there's any health. See,
that's what I was wondering. Of course, if you're older, you remember when he had the whole HIV scare, and I'm assuming that he's been healthy since then, but you don't know. Yeah. And I don't know. This is something. I feel like there's one piece missing that if I said this is what's going on, you'd be like, now it makes sense.
Because it just doesn't make any right now.
No, it does not.
He didn't even tell Pelinka. He didn't tell Jeannie Buss. He didn't tell anybody in the organization until he told the reporters, which was just shocking.
Matter of fact, sources say that Magic hadn't spoken to head coach Luke Walton in weeks either. Of course. Now, that may mean, they're planning on firing him anyway. But still, as president, you still need to be in contact with your head coach and the front office personnel.
Yeah, and they said he met with LeBron and his agent last weekend and gave no indication that he was on the way out the door.
Let me ask you this. You think LeBron and his camp have anything to do with this? Does LeBron have that kind of power?
Stephen A. says yes already.
Does he?
Of course, he looks for any opportunity he can to bash
LeBron.
And he likes to bash LeBron. He's a conspiracy theorist by nature. Yeah. But I don't see it.
I don't either, and I wonder if he did. Like, what would be his motivation?
Yeah, Magic. Let's say that LeBron tried to force his hand. If there's one place in the world that LeBron doesn't have all the clout, it's L.A., especially when you're talking about dealing with Magic Johnson.
Yeah. And see, that's why I wonder, like, I really don't think it's the pressure getting to him because this is Magic Johnson. This is Showtime Lakers. Right. This is winning national NBA Finals.
NBA Finals, five championships, 9 trips to the finals.
However, you said that you fully expect Phil Jackson to take over as head coach. I'm still going to take that $20
That's
from
right.
you.
I've forgotten that.
We saw the same thing when he became president of the Knicks, and they didn't do well.
Right.
And he eventually stepped down. So maybe it's something along those lines.
Yeah, maybe it's just dealing with today's environment with players altogether because
Could be.
but who knows? I mean,
But still,
we can't get
he's president. Like, he has levels of people that separate him from
That's
that
right.
sort of thing.
Right.
So, I don't know. I wonder if we'll find out ever what it is.
Yeah.
And if so, when will we find out?
Yeah.
So, Magic,
hate
go
to
ahead.
see him go. I love Magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not going to have any problems. I mean, he'll still be around the game
Yeah,
of
that's right.
basketball,
Oh,
I would
yeah.
imagine. So, all right. And then finally, before we move on, let's finish up NBA talk with Wizards point guard John Wall has said, by the way, from Raleigh, North Carolina.
Oh, yeah.
Has said that he's not sure whether he's going to be able to play next season after he's recovering from a torn Achilles tendon, which is no laughing matter.
right.
Yeah.
So he appeared in only 32 games this season. Now, he averaged 20.7 points and 8.7 assists. Let me ask you guys this. Is John Wall overrated?
I believe he is. I mean, you can make a case for him. He's probably in the Eastern Conference. Eastern Conference, I can say he's probably one of the top 5 guards in
Okay.
the NBA, or at least you could say in the Eastern Conference. But I always made a case when I told my family members and whatnot have you. I said, to me, he's in a situation where he's wasting his talent. He can go somewhere in a bigger market and can compete for a championship.
So you think he's overrated because he's playing in Washington, or he's just overrated overall?
Overall,
Okay. What do you think, Brandon? You think he's overrated?
I don't think he is a franchise
Okay.
by himself.
yeah.
Okay.
I don't think he can do what Kemba did
Yes.
with the Hornets the last 2 weeks of the year.
Yes.
I think if you put Wall beside Kemba wins hands down. My opinion. I'm biased because I'm a Hornets fan.
Sure.
However, say he's overrated. He's played on some pretty bad basketball teams. It'd be interesting to see.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see what he could do.
He has, although he's taken a couple of those teams to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Now, I
Yeah.
think the highest they've been might have been a 4 or a 5
Yeah.
seed.
Yeah.
I'll even go as far to say that I don't think he's the best player on his team. I think Bradley Beal is a better ball player.
You're not going to get any argument.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think,
from
yeah.
me whatsoever about
And
that.
I mean, I've wanted to see John Wall succeed from the moment he, was
Yeah.
in North Carolina. I got to see him play in some,
Oh, wow.
what do you call them, like the
like the AAU tournaments. and stuff
AAU
like that.
tournaments. And then, of course, he played 1 year in Kentucky with that crazy good team,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and then was the number 1
Did
overall
they,
pick.
did they win a
but-
championship with him there? Or did they?
I don't
can't-
think so.
don't-
That
don't
was
get
the
me
team
lying.
that
I
was
can't
he and DeMarcus Cousins and a few other guys. The team that won the national championship was the Anthony Davis
Okay,
team.
all right.
And if you think about all the guys that should be on Kentucky's teams year after
Wow.
year, but anyway, I mean, I would go as far to say that yes, he is overrated, and he is not a guy I don't think that could carry a team like
Yeah.
you just
No.
mentioned. But I think he's a good complementary piece. Now, I'm not sure what his contract situation is. I'm pretty sure that Washington re-upped him just a few years ago to a $100-something million
Yeah, they did.
deal. Which
He's
is,
not a max player.
no, I don't think he is, even
No.
though he's getting paid as
Yeah.
such.
That's right.
Because I look at it, because once he recovered from his torn Achilles, I think it's going to be a situation where it's going to be like a sign-in trade, or probably down the line when the February trade deadline comes next year. I think he's going to request for one, and he probably going to get in a situation where he could be somewhere like in Charlotte or San Antonio, or pretty much in Clipperland.
Well, that's what I was going to say is what's stopped him from getting traded to another team where he can be the second or third guy. I don't know if Charlotte's that place because
Yeah.
I don't know if Kimba's going to be around for
Yeah.
that long. But
And I don't think if you put John, I don't think if you put John Wall on a team where he's not expected to be the guy.
Yeah.
I think he'd flourish.
yeah,
Or put it like in New Orleans Pelicans with Anthony Davis.
yeah, I don't see Anthony Davis
Yeah,
ain't going to be there no longer either.
he wants to play with Anthony Davis. He better not go to New
He
Orleans.
better go to LA. I was going to say a team like Milwaukee where he
Yeah.
could be Giannis and
that would be
Chris
de-
Middleton's
he would-
second
That would be
guy.
deadly.
He
That
would
would
be
be
deadly spotting
That's
up,
dead,
spotting
man.
up with Giannis giving him the ball.
Or
Yeah.
a team, another underrated
good call.
team like the Pacers, and be Victor Oladipo's right hand
I
man.
tell you what, and the Pacers, nobody's talking about.
I know.
I mean, the East really wouldn't surprise me. There are like 4 teams out of the East
Yeah,
that could
and
come
then
out.
it drops
Well, I know
off
we're going to talk
after
about that
that
next week.
But it's very top heavy.
Yeah.
But those teams are really
Yeah, and the
good.
Pacers could be one of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Pacers
Yeah,
might
you
get
would.
people because they play. I mean, the Pacers always been known for their tenacious defense. And I always say about the Pacers, the Pacers one of those teams in the Eastern Conference when it comes to the playoffs. Don't sleep on them. I'm telling you.
Yeah, and I know
as Boston, because they gave them a good run for 7 years.
They did. And I know a lot of people were like, "Oh, they let Paul George go. They're going to tank this year," and they did the complete opposite. They got better.
Yeah, I believe they are better.
Yeah.
All right, so as I mentioned, next week we'll have all of your NBA playoff matchups and let you know who's going to be moving on. Of course, the playoffs last for a decade. I think I read where the NBA Finals isn't until like the end of May, beginning of June, so it's like a full 2 months from now.
Beats grad, you can be watching NBA Finals. If you're like me and a nerd instead of wanting to be out at the places.
I'm the same way now.
You can be watching NBA Finals. Beats grad. I did my graduation. I hate to admit that, but I was watching the finals of the Lakers.
Yeah. Speaking of school, let's head over and do our big impacts of the week. Of course, brought to you by Richmond Community College, whose motto is local college, big impact. Brandon, let's start with you. Who you got this week?
I'm going with Savannah Lampley, starting shortstop for the Richmond Raiders softball team. 4-year varsity starter. You go to Max Preps. I think she's got a career batting average of 481, hitting right around 400 this year.
Crazy.
We'll be going to UNC Wilmington.
Nice.
She's already committed and signed. And she'll be playing ball as a Seahawk next year.
Now, is she just playing softball? Because I feel like she could play volleyball.
Oh, yeah. She's a great volleyball player. Now, I think when she gets to Wilmington, she's going to focus on softball.
That's a good idea.
Because she's just, as great as she is at volleyball, I think that was something she just did to keep herself in shape.
Sure. Yeah.
And she's a great softball player.
Uber talented.
Yeah.
As is that whole softball team.
And just a great, humble kid on top of it.
Absolutely. All right, Jeremy, who you got for your big impact this week?
I'm going to go with Kevin Capos, from the Richmond Raiders, tennis player who also was the first player on the tennis team to commit himself to Thailand College in Pennsylvania. Awesome. Kudos for him because he's doing a great job.
Yeah, absolutely. He didn't start off, but now he is the Raiders' #1 tennis player and is backing it up as well. My big impact for this week, I'm going to the national level. You know, we already talked about the men's side of basketball. But the #1 Baylor Bears defeated the #1 seed Notre Dame Fighting Irish 82-81 to win the 2019 NCAA Women's National Championship. And what I hate to say I didn't watch, but what I've heard and read was just a phenomenal game.
Congrats to that. It's a talent squad.
Absolutely. Now, the Bears beat defending champion Notre Dame to win their 3rd overall title. Consensus National Coach of the Year Kim Mulkey joins UConn's Gino Auriemma with 11 and former Tennessee coach Pat Summitt with 8 in the ultra-exclusive club of women's basketball coaches with at least 3 titles.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
So congratulations to them.
And she's built such a program there. She's almost to the level of Connecticut, but if not already there.
Getting up there and
you know, look,
we've seen, unfortunately, Pat Summitt passed away. Yeah. Gino's going to have to pass that torch eventually.
Yeah.
She could perhaps be the one to pick it up. So. Baylor, didn't they have the Brittany Griner girl, who was just a whole nother caliber basketball
on a different planet, yeah.
All right, let's finish up the show and go to Love It or Hate It. Mine too, and I've got a bunch of them. So let's just jump right into it. Talking about the national championship, Texas Tech canceled their classes for the national title game. Love it or hate it?
I love it.
Love it.
Love it.
I love it too. I think more schools should do this. I think like Super Bowl, the Monday after should be a national holiday.
Okay, I'll give you back Columbus Day and President's Day. Give me the day after Super Bowl.
I am on
give
board.
Them back.
I am on board for that. Yes. I don't need Flag Day.
That's right.
I need ACC Tournament Day.
That's right.
All right, #2. On the other side of the coin, Auburn fans threw objects at the refs after that loss to Virginia. They did not like the call. Love it or hate it?
Hate it. Hate it. I get it. I totally get the frustration, but you got to. I mean, you cannot throw stuff at people.
Right.
Hate it.
I'm right there with you guys. Yeah, you got to be able to reel it in. Again, you can yell at the ref, you can boo the ref.
That's right.
You can't throw stuff at the guys or anybody on the court.
That's right.
Let's see. Next up is the Washington Redskins have a quote solid chance of trading for Cardinals quarterback Josh Rosen. I know we've talked about this before, but it seems like we're inching closer and closer to it. Love it or hate it?
I did not know that. I hate it. I don't want the Redskins getting better.
Okay. All right.
I'm gonna say the same. I'm gonna say hate it. Don't they just signed Case Keenum?
Exactly. They just signed Case Keenum. That's not an answer.
If that's their quarterback, then they should go for Josh Rosen.
Yeah, that's not an answer. Keenum had one good year in Minnesota, that's been it.
That's right.
Both before and after. I'm good with this. I think this is a win for everybody.
That's an upgrade for Washington.
It is. It's an upgrade. It gives us a quarterback of the future because even when I've already forgot his name. Comes back.
Alex Smith.
Alex Smith. I mean, he's not going to be the same player.
And he's mid-30s on top of that.
Exactly. And on top of that, this will also open up Arizona to take that number 1 pick and get Kyler Murray. So everybody wins all the way around.
Yeah.
Up next, the Philadelphia Phillies offered fans free tickets for sitting through a rainy game. Love it or hate it.
I love that.
I love it.
I love it too.
Loyalty.
Loyalty.
I'm one of the ones that would have stayed.
I was Dave and had my umbrella at the same
That's
time.
called loyalty, and you stick it out through the rained out game. That means you get a free ticket to another beautiful game.
That's
Two
right.
games
Yeah,
of baseball.
absolutely.
What else can you ask for? Up next, T.O. Terrell Owens in the news. He lost his memorabilia after a storage unit was auctioned off. His storage unit, I should say. Love it or hate it. Pay your bills, T.O.
This is mean, but I love it.
I love it too.
I love it, man. Come on, dude.
I've written. I'm gonna
Bring the popcorn.
I'm gonna give myself a shameless plug one more time. I've written a column about T.O. being T.O. This is prototypical T.O.
This is T.O. being T.O.
Pay attention to your stuff, man, because now you're gonna have to pull an O.J. and go get it back.
That's right.
And potentially go to prison.
Hey, call him up. He's out of prison. He's in
Yeah.
Florida. You can help
He's
him.
bored.
He
He's
can help you
bored.
get it back.
He needs something to do. Up next, Jamal Charles. You guys remember this guy?
Oh, yeah,
Right?
for the Chiefs.
He came out this week and said, "My numbers should put me in the Hall of Fame." Love it or hate it.
Hate it. I disagree.
All right.
I thought he's a very good running back, but he's not Hall of Fame.
You don't think he's Hall of Fame? Okay.
I'm gonna say hate it. He's enough to get into the Ring of Honor for the Kansas City Chiefs, but not a Hall of Famer.
Let me throw some stats out here for
Okay.
you. 9 seasons with Kansas City,
Okay.
1 in Denver, like barely a third of a season in Jacksonville. 7,563 rushing yards,
Okay.
a 5.4 average, 44 touchdowns on the ground.
Okay.
2,593 yards with 20 touchdowns receiving.
Okay.
1,246 return yards and 1 more touchdown to boot. Okay. So we're talking about 65 touchdowns. That's not enough?
Drew Pearson's not in.
Is he higher than that?
Maybe.
All right.
To you, and I get those are great stats, by the way. Don't get me wrong. And I think I love Jamal Charles as a player. He was a punishing back when he was in Kansas City. However, he's one of those guys for me if I have to think about it.
I'm right there with you. I'm not arguing either way for him.
Yeah.
You know, it reminds me of another Kansas City running back, Priest Holmes.
That's
was
right.
dominant for a few years.
That's right.
Never make the Hall of Fame.
That's just like shoot. I like to shoot. If that's the case, Jamal Lewis need to get in before he will.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of guys, these running backs that were good for a handful of seasons,
Yeah.
but the longevity was never there.
Yeah.
Speaking of longevity, number 7 here on Love It or Hate It, Albert Pujols passes Ichiro on the all-time hits list. That's right. Didn't expect that, did you? Love it or hate it?
Love it.
Love it. I love Pujols. I'm a big fan of his.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know when that massive contract runs up of his, but as far as this
2024.
Wow.
Yeah, they're paying him till he's like 44 years old.
78 years old.
Yeah.
But as far as this stat, that's great for him.
I love it for Pujols. However, I've said this before and I'll say it again. I really wish Ichiro would have spent his entire career in the majors.
It's skewed because
Pujols wouldn't be any close
that's
to
right.
him.
It's skewed because Ichiro lost 7 years in his prime playing in Japan.
By the way, both Pujols and Ichiro entered the MLB in 2001. Both won Rookies of the Year in their respective leagues. That was the 3,090th hit for Pujols, which now ranks him 22nd all time.
Wow.
So,
Congrats to Pujols.
congratulations to him. Sticking with baseball, talking about another albatross of a contract, the Baltimore Orioles' Chris Davis. Yes, he set an MLB record this week with an 0-for-47 hitless streak. Love it or hate it.
I hate it for him. I do. Although he seems to be having fun with it.
Yeah.
He posted it on his own Twitter page, the big number
All right,
47.
well, there you go.
He said hits are overrated.
Well, he should with that stat line. What do you think, Jim? Love it or hate it?
Hate it.
0-for-47 would get 99% of the guys in the league fired.
Yeah.
But the O's still owe him $92 million.
And he's got almost 300 career bombs, so they're just praying.
That too.
They're still just praying he's going to turn around and give him 20 bombs sometime this year.
By the way, that $92 million is to be paid out in deferred payments until 2037.
What a smart man.
Smart on his part. Stupid on the Orioles. You're going to be paying him Bobby Bonilla money.
Bobby Bonilla's still getting paid from the Mets.
All right, let's talk about your Dallas Cowboys, who have signed defensive end DeMarcus Lawrence to a 5-year, $105 million deal with $65 million guaranteed. Love it or hate it, Brad?
I love it. In 3 years, they're going to say this was a bargain.
Probably. You're absolutely right. What do you think, Jeremy?
I'm gonna say I love the deal because that gives you pay your best defensive player to solidify your D line for the next few years, but I'm gonna hate it because I don't like the Cowboys.
All right. I love it. I mean, Lawrence is one of the best defensive players, not only on the defensive line, but in general, I would think.
Yeah.
He's a leader of that defense
He
now
is.
with Sean Lee
He is.
going on the way out the door.
And whether you agree with the moniker of Dallas being America's team,
I
it's
don't. I
still
hate that, by the
it's
way.
still the Cowboys. They're
right.
still prominently known as
Richest Cowboys contract ever, by the way.
Really.
Yep.
Well, there you go.
Boy.
That surprises me.
It shocked me when I read that
Yeah.
on Dallas's website the other day.
Let me ask you this though: we've seen for years Jerry Jones make some less than stellar moves as GM. Is he continuing to be the full-time GM? Because it feels
His son.
it feels like Dallas has kind of got it together.
His
here.
son Steven has wrangled the controls away the last few years. You've seen him be smarter with the free
Yes.
agency moves,
drafting
better. They had the money when DeMarcus Ware came up for this money a few years ago. They had to let DeMarcus Ware go because they didn't have the cap space to sign him, and he went to Denver and won a Super Bowl.
Right.
So when it came up with Lawrence, they actually had the money on hand, and they say they have the money to go ahead and sign everybody that's coming up, like Dak.
Prescott's going to be next up.
Yeah, Dak's up. Ezekiel Elliott's rookie contract coming up to an end soon.
And Amari Cooper and all of that.
Amari Cooper, Byron Jones. They say they can do everybody, and that's strictly by Stephen Jones managing this and taking the controls away from Jerry.
Well, that's great. They the Redskins need to take some notes.
Yeah.
I really thought Tony Romo was the highest paid guy.
I was shocked when I read that, and now it won't stay that way for long. I think Dak will pass him,
Oh yeah,
and
absolutely.
Ezekiel too.
All right, up next, Justin Verlander. We're going back to baseball. Justin Verlander, who is 36 years old, says he wants to be the Tom Brady of baseball and play into his 40s. Love it or hate it?
Love it. If he can do it, I mean, if you can perform, I mean, baseball's if you're doing it, I mean, look at Sabathia. He's still going.
Yeah.
I mean,
Look at Bartolo Colon.
That's right. Bartolo Colon's 88. Mm-hmm. So if you can still do it, by all means, do it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say love it. As long as you take care of your body and make sure you stay healthy for those few years.
And you play every 5 days.
Yeah, exactly. I thought Verlander was washed up. Then he went to Houston, and he's like
Just
a
had a resurgence.
rejuvenation.
I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
Good Lord,
I don't know what it
happened to
is.
him.
Actually, I do know what it is. The one thing these two guys have in common, they're married to supermodels.
That helps. Hey,
Bye, man.
Giselle and Kate Upton.
they're excited to go home every night.
Bye, man.
That would keep me feeling young for sure. Sticking with baseball, Arizona Diamondbacks catcher Alex Avila injured his quad on a home run trot, was then put on the DL. Love it or hate it? Not the IL, the DL.
I love it, I guess.
I love it.
I love it too because I hate that he got hurt. I hope it's not something that's going to linger. But come on, man, you're in a home run trot. Like, take it easy. Take it easy.
Wow.
All right, Bran, you kind of touched on this earlier in the show, but up next, it's not one here. Anonymous NBA players have voted Draymond Green and Russell Westbrook as the most overrated in the league. Love it or hate it?
I hate it. Totally disagree, especially with the Russell Westbrook one because I think this dude just competes every night. If you add him to Golden State,
Yeah.
or you add him
He
to
averaged a triple-double last
for
year.
3 years in a row, hasn't he? Or he's done it
He's
3 times in his
close- he's
career.
close
Yeah,
to
he
it.
already.
My gosh, I mean, what more can you put him on LA now?
Yeah.
And they're a playoff team.
And you know, the Lakers were trying their hardest to get him because, of course,
Yeah.
he played at UCLA. We were also going to touch on.
I totally disagree with this. I mean, and I hate the anonymous crap anyway.
Yeah,
If
but
you're
I mean,
gonna-
they
if
do
you're gonna
that
say-
so they don't
yeah,
want
If
to.
you're going to say something like that, put your name on it.
True. Jeremy, love it or hate it. These two guys overrated.
I'm gonna say hate it because Russell Westbrook's in the league all by himself.
I'm going to say hate it too. Forget Westbrook. Draymond Green is one of
that's
the
a true
most
story.
versatile players in the entire league. He's not built like Giannis, but he can do all of the same things that Giannis does. Plays great defense. Is a team leader.
And he doesn't mind being the bad guy.
Yeah, if
showed
need
him.
be.
He doesn't.
Yeah.
He protects his teammates. I'm telling you how many T's he saved his players from.
And I mean, I'll throw it out there because I've already said it. If anybody should be on this list currently, it should be John Wall, in my opinion. So,
And I think James Harden,
he's
a great scorer.
no defense
None.
whatsoever.
He couldn't guard me.
No, he couldn't guard any of us. Up next, let's stick with the NBA. LeVar Ball, remember this clown? He has come out and said that Zion Williamson, quote, can't hold a candle to Lonzo's brother, LiAngelo Ball. Love it or hate it.
I love it.
What is wrong with this guy?
I love it, and just because of the fact every time this moron speaks, It provides good entertainment. Just when you think he can't be any dumber.
I just wonder how far can he put his foot in his
what
mouth.
are you smoking?
Right?
I mean, seriously, what are you smoking?
I don't
say
know.
That?
I don't know.
Did he watch Zion play at all in the tournament?
I must not have. So, what do you think, Jeremy? Love it or hate it?
I'm gonna say love it.
LeVar Ball is an idiot.
That's right.
I don't know what he's talking about. This is the same guy that said he could beat Michael Jordan with a hand tied behind his back.
I'd love to see that happen.
I would love to be at that game.
I don't think, forget LiAngelo, I don't think Lonzo could hold a candle to Zion.
No, heck no. Right now.
Yeah. One more basketball here. Actually, it's probably more than that. But Jerry Stackhouse, former Tar Heel, has been hired as Vanderbilt's new head basketball coach. Love it or hate it?
I love it just because I'm a Tar Heel fan. I love Stackhouse. Just he's real short on the coaching experience.
He is. He's got NBA experience.
That's right. He got NBA assistant experience.
Not quite sure how much that helps you when it comes to recruiting and all that.
But his name and his pedigree will get him some recruits.
Yes, it will.
And which recruits will win college.
Absolutely. Love it or hate it?
I'm gonna say love it. I was gonna say love it. It's a great hire for Vanderbilt, and I mean for Jerry Stackhouse. Y'all remember he was D-League Coach of the Year last year.
Oh yeah, I forgot he did.
Yeah, with Toronto's G League team.
And I truly believe down the road, I think he'll get his first stint as an NBA head coach.
His assistants are going to be important here.
Yes. I like this move. It kind of reminds me of Memphis signing, who was it, Penny Hardaway?
Yeah.
Penny Hardaway.
Where you bring
Good
a guy
analogy.
in, and they did really well in the recruiting show
That's right.
because, guys, these kids still know these guys.
That's right.
They know
And Jerry
they play in
Stackhouse
the
still
NBA.
young enough for these
Yeah.
guys he's recruiting. Remember seeing him play.
And on top of that, Stackhouse playing at Carolina, he knows what big time basketball is supposed
That's
to
right.
look like.
And he can sing the national anthem.
Can he?
Can't sing.
Very nice. Also, the SEC seems to be on its way up in
I do too.
basketball.
Yeah.
Sure.
I see no reason why Vanderbilt couldn't be a part of that,
Right.
and I see no reason why Stackhouse couldn't be a part
They're
of that.
right
as
there
well.
on. They're right there on par with ACC right now in basketball.
I hate to keep floating my own boat here, but I also wrote a column, 6 months ago about who's going to replace Roy Williams when he retires.
Oh, I missed that.
The name I
love
threw
that.
out there was Jerry Stackhouse as one of them.
You know
could
what?
possibly see that if he gets some more experience.
Absolutely. If he goes to Vanderbilt and succeeds, I
Yeah.
mean, Roy Williams is in his mid-60s.
Yeah.
I mean, why not?
Why not? Yeah, I
And
agree
you
with
know they love Tar. They want it to be a Tar Heel.
That's how my column started. I said, nobody likes to keep it in the family like the Tar
That's
Heels,
right.
and that's exactly what they do. All
All
right.
right.
Up next, well, let's not talk about that. Up next, Tommy Tuberville. Haven't talked about this guy in a while, but
From
Tommy
Auburn?
Tuberville, was going to run for U.S. Senate in Alabama with Sean Spicer on his campaign team. Love it or hate
I'm
it.
gonna say love it.
Love it. Go for it.
Go for it.
I'm going to do it as long as Sean Spicer is in the bushes when he's doing it. You know what? I don't really know if Tommy's got any political experience, but, in this day and age, I really don't think you need any.
That's right.
So go ahead, Tommy, do that. He, of course,
Experience not required.
coached Auburn from 98 to 2008. I wonder if him being Auburn's coach and not the Crimson Tide's coach will affect people voting, because I bet it does down there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Guarantee it.
Any kind of Crimson Tide fans, because
That's
you
right.
see what I mean. Russell just absolutely hates War
That's
Eagle,
right.
and he
And
wouldn't
he-
vote for Tuberville.
No, he would not.
All right,
if
up
they
next-
agreed on every issue.
Exactly. Up next, an NBA one here. We talked about some off-season stuff here. The Celtics, Kyrie Irving, apparently is set to meet with the Lakers in free agency this offseason. Love it or hate it?
I'm gonna say love it.
All right.
Cause I'm gonna tell you why. Cause cause you already know Kyrie wants to play with LeBron again, and let him do it.
Okay, go ahead.
Hate it.
I don't understand why now all of a sudden he wants to play with LeBron again when
He
he
couldn't wait to
absolutely
get
wanted
out.
out and went to Boston. I don't understand what's changed here for him to want to go and play with him in L.A. Yeah, I get that, but the whole point of him leaving to go to Boston is he wanted to win a ring on his own. He wanted to
Without
be the
LeBron.
man instead of being the man's sidekick.
Or shadow.
I don't know. Is Kyrie Irving overrated any?
I believe he is.
Yeah,
To me,
I
he
can
is.
go that far.
I think the Celtics. It's questionable. The Celtics are better with or without him, in my opinion.
I mean, we saw
Yeah.
last year without
Oh,
him, they were
yeah.
really good.
Yeah,
So.
that's just my opinion.
All right, up next, President Trump and his administration canceled a December deal that would have allowed Major League Baseball teams to sign Cuban players, much like they do with Asian players. Love it or hate it?
I hate this move.
I hate it.
Hate it.
I hate it too, because the White House said that Cuban Baseball Federation is part of the Cuban government and trade is currently banned with Cuba, although, Obama's administration tried to lift that embargo.
That's
but
such a skewed argument.
it's so stupid.
I mean, why?
Yeah.
Other than to
Who's it hurting?
Other than to undo something that his predecessor did.
That's all it was.
That's all this is about.
Yeah, that's all it was, because I don't want to get too political here, but so right off the bat, the majority of Trump's moves were, all right, what did Obama do? All right, let's do an executive order, the complete opposite of that. So.
And I'm not saying I hate the guy or anything. I'm just saying this is a bad move for baseball.
It is.
Bad move.
I agree, because we've seen a lot of talent come out of Cuba
That's
already.
Right. Oh,
so.
yeah.
All right, up next, Blue Devils guard Trey Jones has announced he's returning for his sophomore season. Love it or hate it?
Love it.
Love it. Although I hate Duke.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ready.
Oh, for the draft, I agree.
It's good to see a young man not get caught up in the hype of how well he played in the tournament.
Yep.
And think he's ready for something he's not.
I agree 110%. I think another year of seasoning will do him wonders.
That's right, and I think he's a fantastic player and young man.
And I fully expect Duke to be really good again next year. They're going to have to retool just like a lot of other teams are in the ACC.
Yeah.
I like this overall as a Carolina fan. I hate it.
That's right.
But I think it'll be beneficial for not only Duke, but for Trey Jones
That's
as
right,
well.
and good for ACC basketball, too.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Because you want the better players
That's
to
right.
stick around.
You do.
All right, up next, Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes was spotted covering up his Under Armour shirt with tape and a Sharpie to support Texas Tech in the national championship game. Of course, Mahomes endorsed by Adidas, so covering up his Under Armour logo with tape. Love it or hate it?
I love it.
I'm indifferent.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I like this kind of funny.
It's kind of funny.
He was going to pull for the Red Raiders no matter what.
They probably brought more attention to his opponent by doing that. By his competition. By
But
doing
you have to be careful when you're contractually obligated to companies like this.
I get it.
Yeah. All right, up next, another college basketball one here. Virginia is favored to repeat in 2020 at Vegas Sportsbooks. Love it or hate it?
Hate it. I disagree.
I hate it.
I hate it too. I don't think we just got through talking about at the top of the show. They've got some guys they're going to have to replace.
I think they'll be good. Tony Bennett's done a solid job there, obviously.
Yeah, I don't want to put you guys on the spot too much, but who do you think is the favorite if not Virginia?
Oh, gosh.
I'm going to say Chapel Hill.
I can't go that way. We got too many guys to replace.
Maybe Gonzaga.
Yeah, I was thinking Gonzaga or
Where your face at, man?
I don't even know. Where's my face at?
Where my face?
Faith. You know, there's a difference between faith and common sense.
Hey, I got faith. I got faith that'd be safe for me that I'm gonna jump out of an airplane without a parachute to prove it.
Yeah.
It's just
Kentucky will be good again.
Kentucky will be good.
Calipari.
Michigan will probably be there.
Oh yeah, I forgot Michigan will be good. That's I don't even think Carolina's in the top 10 in the preseason.
Yeah, I don't
maybe
think so
not
either.
Ranked.
Now we do have that Armando Bacot, who's a 5-star kid.
That's right.
But if that's it, I don't know.
Don't
Don't forget about Tennessee too.
Oh yeah, and Barnes just turned down the UCLA job.
Yeah. Wow, you read my mind.
Just to stay there. So
Because
that's
up
a
next,
good call in Tennessee.
Up next was Rick Barnes stays at Tennessee after a UCLA push, and the Bruins were offering him $5 million per year. Love it or hate it?
I love it. It's a better job.
It is.
Tennessee's a better job.
It is.
SEC's
Love
a
it.
better conference.
We've talked about it already about how for a lot of these guys, UCLA would be a step down because they're not prevalent like they used to be, and I agree that would have been the case for Rick Barnes. Kudos for him for staying in the SEC. Here's one that's funny. Johnny Manziel has officially changed his name to John Manziel. Love it or hate it?
I hate it. I'm so tired of John E. Manziel.
Whatever his name is. Love it or hate it? Love it or hate it, Jeremy?
I love it because I'm so over here right now. You can't show me the money, though, when he got drafted.
The artist formerly known as Johnny.
Yeah. I hate it because he came out and was like, yeah, I'm going by John these days because I'm maturing or something like that. I'm like, no, you're not. Just because you change your name has nothing to do with how you act.
That's right.
Which is terrible.
Let's ask the
You
whole
got kicked out of the CFL.
Let's ask the whole CFL how much you matured.
John, Johnny, Jonathan, whatever. You got kicked out of an entire Canadian football league.
Wow. The whole country.
You are
voted you out,
trouble.
John.
By the way, going back to Rick Barnes, he actually signed a contract extension with Tennessee back in September that runs through 2024.
Okay.
That currently pays him $3.25 million per year with a $100,000 increase each year. Don't you think now that he's chosen them over UCLA, they may give him a little bit more of a bump?
I think Tennessee, they can afford it, first of all.
Yes, they can.
So I wouldn't be at all surprised to see them come back and reward that loyalty.
Yep. All right, let's talk about who did take the UCLA job. Mick Cronin has left Cincinnati to take the Bruins job 100 days after Steve Alford was fired. Love it or hate it?
I'm going to say love it.
All right.
That's soon. Golly, that's soon. But I'm gonna say love it. I mean, this is an upgrade over Cincinnati.
It is. Yeah, that one is an upgrade.
And although the spotlights would have been less on him had he stayed in Cincinnati, I do think he took an upgrade for a job. I'm sure he didn't get $5 million.
He got 6 years, $24 million, so four
Oh,
years.
yeah.
I'm good with this. I don't know much about him. I know he used to coach at Xavier, perhaps, or was an assistant there before taking over Cincinnati. This is an upgrade.
How many years was he at Cincinnati?
I'm not sure. It doesn't say here, but this is an upgrade for him personally. I think he'll do okay there.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a matter of can he recruit kids gonna want to play in LA. So, all right, guys, we're almost done here. 3 more. The XFL is going to have 3-point tries and 2-point OT shootouts. Now, let me explain to you what this is. On extra points, teams can choose a 1-point conversion from the 2-yard line, a 2-point try from the 5-yard line, or a 3-point attempt from the 10-yard line. Love it or hate it?
Surprisingly, you'll probably surprised at this, but I hate it.
Okay.
Traditionalist in me just sees this as gimmicky, and I thought that's what the XFL was trying to get away from.
That's exactly what I was saying. Love it or hate it?
I'm going to say hate it because you the first thing you said about that 1-point conversion.
It was a 1 point from the 2-yard line, a 2-point conversion from the 5, or a 3 from the 10-yard line.
That's why I hate it. Because that don't make no sense to me.
Well, I mean, it's trying to increase scoring and it's trying to get away from kicking.
And they said it was to make sure teams are never out of the game,
right?
Or
when you have the potential for 3 points or whatever.
Yeah, and so I get it. I mean, but I still don't like it.
Yeah. All right, let's go to NBA for the last 2. The New Orleans Pelicans, Anthony Davis, and this is why he ain't gonna be in New Orleans no more. He wore in his season finale against Golden State, wore a T-shirt that says, "That's all, folks."
That's all, folks.
Love it or hate it.
I'm gonna say love it. It's been nice knowing you. For the Pelicans, nice to know you, Mr. Davis. But good luck in all your future endeavors.
All right.
Love it. It's time to move on from this drama. Him and the Pelicans. It's time for a new chapter for both.
I completely agree. Where does he end up? Is it LA or bust?
I think New York's a dark horse.
They could be. Although I do have to say, before we do this last one, there is talk. I don't know how secure it is, but there is talk that it is a done deal that Kevin Durant is going to New York. I don't know if you guys have read this.
No, I did not.
I saw it on Bleacher Report.
Oh, wow.
That said that behind the scenes, it is a done deal, even though they haven't even started the playoffs.
Well, let me ask you, if that's a done deal, then does that open up Golden State for Anthony Davis?
Could be. I mean, if they can afford him.
I'm gonna say this is me.
You about to owe us some more money?
No. I'm going to say for this, when we talk about NBA free agency down the road,
Red Auerbach's coming back to coach.
I'm going to say Anthony Davis goes to Boston.
Oh, wow.
All right.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's
Especially if Kyrie leaves, that frees up some
Yeah,
money.
with Tatum,
That could happen.
Terry Rosen,
That could happen.
but see, they're gonna be a sign in where you have to trade Al Horford and
I did read where the Pelicans say it's not at all. It's possible he could be on our roster opening day next year. No, he's still got another year on his contract.
For New Orleans?
Yeah.
Oh, does he? Oh, I thought he was unrestricted.
He's got another year on his contract.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's nothing that
but-
says they
but
have to trade him.
If they do that,
Yeah.
I'll be stunned because
I
of the drama.
will
I
too.
think they're going to cut bait.
I think it's time. It's
Yeah.
time to move on.
Yeah.
All right, and finally, guys, last one for Love It or Hate It. Dwayne Wade drops 30 points in his last home game. In the meantime, the Heat fans chanted, "Paul Pierce
I
sucks."
love this.
I love it.
Yeah.
The whole story, start to finish, was just awesome for D-Wade. I love
And
him.
if you're wondering why they're chanting that, Paul Pierce came out this week and said that he was a much better player than Dwayne Wade. I don't know. I think there's an argument there. But as far as scoring, I'm taking D. Wade all day.
And
So-
Dwayne Wade, even at the end of his career, was a guy you could put the ball in his hands and he's going to go get you that bucket.
I mean, 30 points.
And
Final game.
I'm disappointed that he didn't make the playoffs, although it would have hurt the Hornets.
Yeah.
I was really disappointed he didn't make a playoff run his last year.
So, Dwayne Wade, he's done, right?
Yes.
He's done.
All right. One more before we go, though. Dirk Nowitzki, think he's done?
Done.
Because he did a love it or hate it a few weeks ago that said that he's actually contemplating coming back for one more season.
He said after the Mavericks' last home game he was done.
All right.
Okay.
He said,
I didn't know.
We wouldn't announce all year because he didn't want a retirement tour.
Yeah.
But they had they must have known because they had Larry Bird, Scottie Pippen, Charles Barkley, and a couple other guys that were like all Dirk's heroes growing up watching play. They had him all there speaking at the game after the Dallas game.
And I know that Dwayne Wade has done the farewell tour and has been switching jerseys with different players. I know he switched with Kemba earlier this season. So congratulations to both D Wade
two
and
great
Dirk.
class acts. I mean,
First ballot all the way.
And Dirk changed the game.
Yes, he did.
I mean, so all these foreign players today
Yep.
need to be thanking players like Dirk who came in and opened the door for them.
Yes, they do. Before we go, we want to mention this one more time. Coming up on Saturday, April 27th, will be the Henson Lake Disc Golf Tournament taking place, of course, at Henson Lake, 152 Henson Lake Road right here in Rockingham. The schedule is it's going to start at 9 a.m. with a captain's choice. There's three people on the team. Of course, captain's choice for fun and fundraising. Whoever has the best disc, you play from there. At 11 a.m. later that morning, that's when the big boys come out to play. That's going to be singles competition, a solo round for competitive players. Now, top prizes for the solo is a little bit of cash money, discs, and goodies. Top 3 teams get discs, goodies, and bragging rights, of course. If you want to register, it is $25 for entry, and if you pay $25, you can play one or you can play both. Totally up to you. The first 40 to register are going to get a free premium custom Henson Lake disc. You can see what they look like right here. They're very cool, very professional. For more information, you can visit the Facebook page, RYP Disc Golf Tournament. If you want to register online at eventbrite.com, search Henson Lake Disc Golf. So, definitely go out and check that out if you're a big disc golf fan. If you're not, go out and check it out anyway because it's really fun. And
I hope it's a beautiful day. I mean, Henson Lake's a great place to be on.
Yes, it is. And I'm really glad that I've been able to be a part of this from start to finish. So, guys, that's going to do it for this edition of the Ross Rundown. We, of course, appreciate everybody tuning in today and every day for the plethora of shows that we provide for the RO Sports Show. I am Matt Harrelson. That's Jeremy McKenzie. That is Bran Fall on the other end. See you right back here next week for another edition of the Ross Rundown.